blowing like crazy out here. It's probably loud. Man, look at this garden. It's going nuts. Look at that pumpkin. That pumpkin plant's like way over there, and it like climbed up the fence and then climbed back down and came out into the yard. And there's a pumpkin right there. It's gonna be a good one. This stuff is looking so great and blowing up, and I haven't watered this garden at all, like in like over a month and a half, 2 months. I only watered it the first 2 weeks, and we haven't watered it since. Crazy. Right now it's been raining at least once every 3 or 4 days again. We only had like 3 weeks of really hot weather where it all wilted out a little bit, but now it's fine. It's doing great. It's loving it, and it's producing so many squash. The yellow squash, I don't even hardly eat any of that, and I'm producing so much I can't even give it away fast enough. Corn's coming in. I can feel some corn going on in there. So it's about a month out. Going pretty good. My watermelons aren't doing much. I have a couple little watermelons, but they're not getting any bigger than like a handful. And they're those little icebox melons, so they're supposed to be small, but they're supposed to be bigger than that. They should be like 3 times the size than they are. Yeah, things are going good. I think in the next couple days I'm going to harvest the last of that back row of potatoes that are getting smothered by the squash. The potatoes are pretty much on the ground now, under the squash, so I'm going to harvest the rest of those, and we'll let this row here keep going until it starts dying off, and then we'll get the potatoes out of there. Pretty much every set of potatoes has had a new seed potato in there too, like a potato that's already got eyes on it. So I just put those all back in the hole. So I should have this whole thing planted for next year. I don't know how that will work out, but I'm hoping that they'll just winter. Those seeded potatoes that are starting to sprout right now, I'm hoping that they'll just go dormant in winter, because they'll know that it's like the end of the season, and hopefully they'll come up in spring. So we'll see. There's a lot of them. Pretty much every cluster of potatoes has one of them in it, so I'm just leaving those behind. Looking good. August 23rd, like day 118 out here. Producing. Got a giant tomato over there too. Maybe I'll show you that later. It's not red yet though. Didn't even notice this guy until just now. I thought it was just a leaf under there. Where is it? Yeah, right there. Can you see it? It's a big pumpkin. It's green still, but man, that's gonna be a huge beast. It's awesome. I don't know if you can see it. There's the tomato hiding there. It's a big one. Man, the squash is taking over this whole patch of potatoes though. It's not squash, it's the pumpkins that are stretching out like this. They're just taking over everything. Now we're standing on top of the hugelkultur, kind of on a little trail that was in between the squash and the potatoes. But the squash now is just going over it, but I'm going to pull up these potatoes. Man, look, there's just like so much of that prolific squash growing. It's like clusters of it all over the place, and I can't even pick it fast enough before it like gets overgrown. But the pumpkins are pretty much taking over everything now. The pumpkins are like spreading out even over all those plants. Man, there's just tons of these things. There's all kinds of them. Little baby ones started. As soon as I cut off those big ones, the little baby ones will swell up. It's crazy. This little patch that we built here is, I mean, this is definitely big enough to produce quite a bit of vegetables. I don't know, if you were jarring and stuff, you definitely would have wanted to have a couple fences with green beans on it, because I definitely didn't grow enough green beans. Putting the green beans on the corn didn't really work out, because the corn is so thick over there. It's just getting blocked out, and they didn't, the green beans didn't have time to climb. So a quick update on the water barrel thing. I don't know if I ever mentioned, these barrels were not food grade. So I don't use that for drinking water or anything, but I can still do a lot with that water. And I can obviously use it in the garden if I needed to. But this thing gathers more water. Like, that thing's just been full. And even if I was down here at the cabin using it every day, like I will be eventually, it only takes a really little rain to fill that 30-gallon drum. I mean, every rain we have lately, it probably produces like 500 or 600 gallons of water. So I need to get a real system hooked up. I need to have it hooked up so the bugs at the beginning of the rain go down one area and then drain off, and then once it fills up, it does a double pour. And then I need to have this barrel collecting it, and then have a spout that's a little bit lower, like 4 or 5 inches lower from the top, where the water will be being filtered into a bin that's down there, like a 5,000 gallon bin. And if I did that every spring, I would definitely be able to fill that up with how much rain we get. And then that would be enough water. I wouldn't need to get water from anywhere else. That should be good for what I use it for. I was even thinking, if you've ever seen the life straw, the life survival straw, they have like a thing that you set up and just pour water into. And it probably doesn't filter very fast. But over time, I could have a container hooked up to that too. So an overflow goes from the second container to a third container. And when it goes into there, it goes into a filter like that life straw type filter, a gravity filter. And then I'll have a bin that's like, should be really, really clean water too, that I can use for pretty much everything, and even filter if I wanted to drink it or boil it off. Should be pretty clean, but you know, you can get bird shit and stuff from on the roof, so it's not always the cleanest water. You definitely would rather have a spring somewhere that you're getting your drinking water from. But this water will work if you have a bathroom set up and but no water for the bathroom, and you can use this for showering too. I mean, I don't know, that barrel was non-food grade, but it didn't smell like anything weird, and I cleaned it really, really good. So I don't know, I would shower with that water, but you never know what was in those barrels if they're non-food grade, so you got to be careful about that. You might not want to shower in water that's being collected in a barrel that might have had, who knows what, it could have had anything in it. It could have had like an oil or a chemical or something in it. Yeah, so that's collecting more water than I can use, so that definitely was worth it. $100 to set that up, and that was definitely worth it. Day 119, just out here collecting all this dead wood on the sled. Pull it with a little handle. Staging it all up there where it gets sun and it's really dry, and then we'll slowly move it to the cabin from there. But I want to get it all out of this wet stuff. That's why they're dead standing, is a lot of these maples, now that so much leaf cover has come in, this area has gotten pretty wet, and it's killing some of these like 25, 30-year-old maples, which is perfect firewood. So that's what we're in here cutting, getting some hardwood put together for this winter, and I got to drag it on a sled, so it's a lot of work. Mosquitoes are starting to slow down a little bit though, knock on wood. Hopefully I don't jinx it. But last night it got down to 48 degrees, and it's August 25th. 119 days out here so far. Just collecting the firewood so I can continue to stay out here, because another about 6 weeks we'll start getting snow here, which is crazy, but it's coming soon. And I got a stove in the cabin, but it's not really a good one. But the guy had some pipe that included, and the pipe was worth $200, and he was selling me the pipe and the stove for $100, so I just bought it from him. And I'm going to use the pipe for sure. I have the rest of the kit coming this week so I can install that. But I don't know if I'm going to use the stove. I might try to trade it towards another one, or I might just keep it in the shed as a backup just in case. And maybe I'll put pipe in the shed too, so when I have people up, we can have them stay in there. Plus we're going to set up some sort of like kind of temporary shower, so if we had a stove in there we could heat it all up and take a shower a couple days a week, because you're going to need a place to do that in the winter. You know, I can't just, like right now I just go out wherever, I can take a shower anywhere. I mean, the mosquitoes make it so, you know, I try to take it in that little basin in the canvas tent, but sometimes I'll just grab a couple water bottles full and take a shower right on the porch. But once it's 0 degrees, you won't be able to do that. I have a hanger over here, and I just saw it move a little bit. It's a hanger from yesterday. I'm trying to just stay away from it because it's so much weight that it's got to give at some point. There's no way that those trees that are holding it can hold that forever. So I'm just staying away from it. But if it doesn't get loose by tomorrow, I'm gonna have to put a pry bar under it and roll it away from me, and I should be able to do that safely. But I'm out here all by myself, so this is what I call the interior of the property. I have a piece of highland that's like 20 acres, and then the highland rolls off into some wetter land, and it's 80 acres of wetter land, and the wetlands has a couple creeks going through it, a little pond, a lot of stuff, a lot of fishing, a lot of trapping. This property has all of that stuff, and all of that stuff's in the wet spot, which I call the interior. So 100-acre plantation interior is where I'm at right now, and that's where all these maples are growing up. The older gentleman that lives in town told me that 35 years ago this was a straight meadow, and you could see all the way to the brook. All 80 acres down here that's wet was just a meadow, like an open meadow, not a single tree in it. But now the whole 80 acres is pretty much maple with a couple patches of crappy alder, which those alders are such a nightmare. But mostly maple, so I have enough firewood here for the next 10 years, no problem. And some of the firewood that's down by the road that's hanging over into the road, I'll probably have that professionally cut next year and just sell it and help put that money towards the property, because I have like a row of really big old maples, and they're all like at the end of their life, and they're facing the road, so eventually they're going to fall into the road. And I think I'm responsible for keeping those all tidy out here. I don't think DOT or anybody comes and takes care of that. I mean, if it falls into the road, they'll come and cut that out. But I think in general, I'm supposed to take care of my stretch of the road as far as the trees that grow on my land that could fall over. But there's probably like $4,000 worth of trees I could cut down there and sell as firewood. So that's probably what I'll do over the next year. But yeah, it's nice to be out in the woods, just working out here collecting firewood, saving on energy costs. Oh man, I just got bit by a giant horsefly right on the hand. That's gonna hurt. Up at the cabin, well, I'd say I probably have just about a cord right now. So I don't know, it's about a week, not of going straight, but a week of collecting wood to get this all cut and over here, and I still have to cut it up. So yeah, it's a long time. So I'll definitely be spending the most of the next 6 weeks collecting wood to get. I need 6 to 8 cords on the low end and 8 to 10 cords on the have extras and stuff for next summer. I don't know. I think I have probably about 4 cords of dry standing wood throughout the property. It's just all pretty far, so without a 4-wheeler this is going to be a lot of work. But I at least need 4 cords up here, so I can stay here until the end of December at least. But I don't know. Maybe I'll just end up staying the whole winter. We'll have to see how it's going. If I'm liking the snow, if I got a snowmobile, then I'll probably be enjoying myself and want to just stay the whole winter. Which I'm probably going to do that at some point. I have a couple gold coins. Gold is just going crazy though. The stock market is doing horrible because Trump's trade war is pushing the whole stock market right to the brim. I have faith. He's got a plan. Hopefully it's going to work out. But it's driven gold way up, so people who are holding gold definitely are making money this year. If you just hold on to it, maybe it's going to go down, but I don't think it's going to go down from here. I think it's going to go up probably to 2,000, and then maybe it'll come back down and rest at 15 or 16, which is where it's at right now. But still, that's awesome, as it was only 12 at the end of last year. So $300 jump, that's pretty big. That's a good year for gold, which I have some investments in that, so I'm happy, especially since I'm not working this year it's nice to see my savings grow even while I'm not working. So I guess I can thank Trump for that one. But anyways, I keep dragging some firewood. I got probably like 6 more trips to go today. That little trail is really nice. It goes through like some pine wood and then this really jungly viney stuff and then into the maple grove. So this little trail, go through a lot of different little environments here. Well, I realized I hadn't showed you a sunset in a while. Sunset of August 25th, 119. Pretty nice one. From the platform of the canvas tent. Yeah, it's crazy. A lot of mosquitoes out here still. But a couple more nights like last night, and there won't be any mosquitoes. I'm gonna take a walk down to the cabin though. I just heard some traffic go by.
Hear that beautiful sound? Oh yeah.
Got the stove going. It's only August 26th, and it was like 45 degrees this morning when I woke up. Kinda cold, figured I'd fire up the stove just for this morning and get dressed in the warmth. But today is day 120. It's been in the canvas tent for 120 days now. And there's no mosquitoes in here this morning, and there were only a few mosquitoes on the outside of the tent. So another day or two of this kind of cold at night, and the mosquitoes will be finally gone. Thank you. So happy. Driving me crazy, but I think they've slowed down enough that I can even take the bug tent down. That's my hiking tent, so usually I don't use it for stuff like that. And longer I use it, more wear it's gonna get. Plus it's a bitch to climb in and out of it. So I think today I'm gonna take that down, and I'll just deal with the mosquitoes at night for the next couple days as they slow down. And then hopefully by the end of the week they'll be done. Be a lot easier getting work done out in the woods. But man, stove warmed this place up in no time. Started up really nice too. I'm here gathering water down by the meadow. And there is our drum. There's where I gotta carry the water uphill. But if we take a look in there, it's pretty clear, no critters. So that's working out. I haven't backfilled this yet because I haven't felt like I could commit to that. And that's only like 20 gallons. So if I needed more than 20 gallons in a day, it could be difficult. I mean, if I needed it more than 20 gallons at one time, so that thing will fill up in like a couple hours. It used to fill up a lot faster, but as we're getting later in the season, it's definitely slowed down a lot. So I'm just gathering water from here, but soon I'm going to put another layer of kind of big rocks, and then we'll backfill all this. And then hopefully if I backfill it up above the water line, I don't know, I was hoping it wouldn't freeze all the way, or if it did freeze, it would only freeze like a thin layer that I could bust through if I needed it during the winter. But for the most part, we're just going to have to be melting snow. And when we have the stove going, I guess we could maybe use the rain collection system. And when it snows, if the building's really warm, I should be able to collect water that way. But you can't leave that rain collection system up because the snow and ice sliding off the roof will break those hangers. So yeah, this is the water. This is definitely going to be a good water source during the summer. I just got to figure out a way to pump it from here up the hill and put a float in this thing so I can have like a battery pack up the hill running something, and then when it gets to a certain point, a certain lowness, it'll stop running, and then when it gets back up, it'll trigger it again, and it will just keep on draining it as it fills and bringing it to a tank up top of the hill. and then I'll just store it in the tank on top of the hill during the summer, and then I should have plenty of access to as much water as I need. But next year we're probably gonna drill a real well anyways, unless I'm totally broke and can't afford to do that. In that case, this will be our well still. Well, day 120, just getting morning chores done. Same kind of chores I've been doing for 120 days now out here.
Well, there's the harvest for day 120.
A lot of stuff, and I have about that much already in the cooler that I'm not sure what I'm going to do with. I'm just producing stuff way too fast. Man, and there's a pumpkin right there. You can kind of see it showing. That thing is huge. And that's coming from the hugelkultur garden. So it must be finding nutrients in there. It's growing. I have pumpkins coming up all over the place. There's gonna be pumpkins everywhere in October. But this is what we got today. And I'm gonna eat that one because I accidentally cut it too low. It's hard to see in there. It's such a squash jungle over there. It's hard to see what you're cutting sometimes. But that's a lot of vegetables, so I've got to go around to the neighbors and see who wants them. Maybe somebody's interested in freezing a bunch of them so they can use them this winter. Because I don't have a freezer and there's no way I can eat all this stuff. Look at those 2 zucchinis I neglected. Those things are monsters. I wonder how big those things would have gotten. I guess I should have left one of them and just let it go. But there's another one over there that's a little bit smaller than that one. I guess I could just let it go and see how big it gets and get seeds out of it too. You know, I don't think that that's big enough that that'll have seeds in it. I think it gets even bigger. But it would be nice to make some seeds for next year. The zucchini I'm definitely going to grow. I eat the zucchini. I don't really eat the yellow squash, so I wish I didn't grow so many of plants of it. So I can't even give that stuff away fast enough. Look at this little watermelon. Not really doing anything. Not really finishing up. I don't know. The watermelon, I guess, didn't get enough light or something in this garden set up. My butternut squash is still in there somewhere. That should be done in a couple weeks. But I guess I gotta go find a home for these, and I guess I'll probably eat that cucumber with some balsamic vinegar. That'd probably be pretty good. That pumpkin sprawling out of the gate. I don't know, the rabbits haven't come around. You know, the coyotes, I heard a coyote last night messing with the bucket right on the porch there. So, I don't know, the coyote must be really keeping the bunnies on the move, the rabbits. Because nothing's messing with anything that's growing outside of the greenhouse, which is a bunch of different things growing out of it. I mean, not the greenhouse, the enclosure here, the garden. See, there's some lightening up going on some of the pumpkins. They're probably planted in a place that's not like got a lot of fertilization. Maybe I didn't put a thick enough layer of grass there. Because most of this whole side of this garden is just growing off of grass and wood chips. I didn't put anything else there. I mean, we put some of those moose nuggets and some rabbit pellets that we found around, but that wasn't a lot. It was like 2-gallon buckets full of that. It's not a lot at all. So it's really the grass that this is growing off of. Once you put the wood chips on it, it just breaks down that grass so quickly. A couple rains and it was already molding and breaking down after only a couple rains. But it's pretty amazing that I haven't really had to water this thing either. Like, this whole garden hasn't had to be watered, so that's pretty huge. And once I get water up here, I'll be able to fertilize my garden a lot more and I'll get much higher yields. But this is pretty sweet. This garden worked out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. And I kept these flowers on the edge here. They're going to seed right now. But they bring the bees in. The bees come and mess with those, and then the bees go to all my squash flowers and pumpkin flowers and all the other stuff. So I think it was a good idea to keep this row here, and I'll just well, I'm gonna buck all this wood down into cordwood right now. Stack it up over there.
Man, look at this beautiful little thing. Not the little one, the one behind it. I'm gonna cut that right now.
Okay, so I have a field that's next to, it's kind of next to where the driveway is and kind of close to the cabin, but it's on the road. It's where the old barn used to be when there was a farm here like 30 years ago. But right now I'm standing under a big apple tree, and it's the only apple tree that doesn't look really, the other two apple trees look like green apples, not crab apples but green apples, but they're in pretty rough shape and they're not doing too good. This is an old Macintosh tree, and it has a lot of apples on the bottom of the tree that don't look that great, but towards the top of the tree there's a bunch of really nice apples, and some of them really big, like the size you'd get in a store. So I'm trying to clear all the branches and trees around here because, one, I'm going to put a little stand in this tree and I'm probably going to hunt from this tree. I could see that all the high grass around me coming up to this spot had all kinds of game trails where animals had beat down the path to get in here to this apple tree. So you can't put apples out for the animals, but you can hunt by an apple tree. So, you know, that's the best place. All the deer and the bear all come in for the apples. Mosquitoes are really bad, but that's what I'm doing. I'm clearing all the trees around it, and the trees that are around this is like these thorns. It's I think it's called the hawthorn bush. I think the locals call it partridge berry, but a little berry grows on it that finishes. It's pretty much done now, but it gets softer as it ripens up. And in October, those things will ripen up, and that's what brings the partridge or the rough grouse in. And that's a big game bird, and that's something we'll be hunting out here. So I'm gonna just clear this all back and make it so it's really open around this apple tree. So when the animals want to come in, it's nice and open. Plus I'm gonna open it up on one side to that field. So if I'm on the other side of the field with a rifle, I can see the animals come into the apple tree. And then if I want to take a deer here, I'll be able to take a deer here. A lot of work though, but it's a nice apple tree, and I tasted the apples. They're still a little sour, but it's just the end of August, so probably 2 more weeks these apples will be done. So pretty good apples, and definitely good enough apples for apple pie. So once we get an oven set up, we'll definitely be doing apple pie out here.
Well, it's day 125. Look at those beautiful cucumbers I just harvested. Taking a break from freeing up that apple tree. I'm gonna cut up these potatoes and put them on the grill and put some cheddar brats on.
Cheddar brats. I've been trying not to eat too many of those because they're so bad for me, but I always have a pack in the cooler because they last the longest in the cooler. Hamburger doesn't last nearly as long. I can leave that in the cooler as long as the cooler has ice in it for up to 2 weeks, maybe even longer, because it's so processed. A hamburger I gotta eat within 4 days usually. So a lot of work cutting that whole thing out, and I'm also trying to just clean up all the debris that was left in the yard from spring when we cut all that stuff down, and get the yard all ready for winter to be coming soon. But yeah, I'm gonna cook these potatoes and get some food going. Can't believe 125 days, crazy.
Well, that should be enough for lunch. A little green to them, but that's because I don't have any bags. I need to get some brown paper bags when I go into town. I'll have them just put on my groceries in paper bags instead of plastic next time. Because I've been neglecting the garden, but we gotta pick the rest of the potatoes. We still have 2 rows of potatoes in the ground, and it's getting to the time of the year where they're all dying back. So I want to pick those and sort through them and leave whatever seed potatoes behind in the garden for next year, and get those all packaged up. And then I got to figure out where to store them. The cabin, I guess, is the coolest place. Since it's insulated, it stays really cool all day. So I guess I'll just store them in there. I have a couple coolers full of squash down there too, but the potatoes are probably going to last a lot longer than the squash does. And luckily we have some fall squash that'll come down I don't know, sometime at the end of September, and that'll last for a little while. But yeah, these potatoes, gotta get them out of the ground. I can see all the neighbors down the road. I call them neighbors, but they're like 6 miles down the road. But they are the closest neighbors in that direction. They were harvesting their potato fields, and there's a guy locally who comes and he'll plant your potato field and harvest them and everything and just give you your cut. And it looked like they pulled 4 tractor trailer fulls of potatoes off of that guy's yard, and he only has like 10 acres planted, not even. So a lot of potatoes. I don't know how much he gets for that, but I think I'm going to clear one of the fields out by the road next year and have that guy do some potatoes on my property. Put some olive oil, salt and pepper on those, and wrap them in aluminum foil and put them on the grill with the brats. Well, that's about half the potatoes. I don't know what's going on with these. Look at this thing. It's like a potato matrix. I'm not sure why they're doing that. Must be because I have the charcoal chunks in there or something. Some sort of inconsistency is making that happen. Another zucchini. There's a whole crap load of yellow squash I gotta harvest. I sent a whole box of yellow squash with the post lady. I asked her if she wanted a couple. She said yes, so I just gave her this huge box full of it. But she said she handed them out to people around, so that's cool. Oh, I'd say that's a little more than half of the potatoes. No, that's about half the potatoes. So that's quite a bit of potatoes there. I gotta go find a brown paper bag to put these things in. Didn't get any more broccoli after that one piece. I thought if I cut the top, more broccoli was going to come off at all those nodes. Tomatoes are still green. There's a crap load of them all over the thing, but they're still green. Well, look at this thing. It's still green too, but look at how big that thing is. It's freaking ginormous. Man, that's going to be an awesome Halloween pumpkin. Pumpkin max to the max. Thing's a giant. I gotta go find a bucket and collect my potatoes. But I'm trying to search through here and see if there's any yellow squash or zucchinis that are done. Look at how packed it is. There's so many plants. Next year I'm only doing 1 yellow squash plant and 2 zucchinis, because I had way too much this year. Either that or I gotta set up a stand and sell them at the end of the driveway. I don't know. It's easy taking care of them though, so guess I should just grow as much as I can and give it away. Alright, walking down the road towards the cabin. So, I guess the guy from the mill is up here with my load of supplies, which is awesome because I've had no roof on one of the outhouses for like a month now. So it'd be nice to finish that up. But he's also bringing all the wood to build the shed. So this week I'm going to be building a shed from scratch by myself, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully I don't regret starting this without a person up here to help me. But I suppose if I really need to, I can go down the road and the guy who runs town hall, his grandson is about my age. He can probably come and help me, and I'll just give him a couple bucks or something. But I've never built a structure like that. The outhouse, was pretty much my first building, so I've got some plans offline, and I'm gonna build a shed. Hopefully a shed that looks pretty much like the cabin. I got pine board for it and green metal roof, so everything should match the cabin. So hopefully it comes out good and it doesn't look like a disaster when I'm done. But things have been going pretty good. I think after the 2 outhouses, I think I have this building thing down a lot better, and now that I got some nicer tools, I'm getting good straight cuts and things are coming out more plumb. So, but I'm gonna wait down here at the end of the road. He said he passed the place already, but he went up the road to where the fire tower is, and there's somebody up there getting a couple things from him, and then he's gonna come and drop this off with me. So I'll bring you guys back when there's a pile of lumber here.
Sweet. Well, just got back from the mill. They forgot to add these 2 cover sheets, which a cover sheet is just the crappy sheet that's on the top of the stack of metal roofing, and I get those for half price. And they don't match usually, the colors. One of those is black and one of them's red. But we're gonna put a roof on the outhouse and take the roof that's on that one and put it on the other outhouse, because the other outhouse is next to the cabin, and the roof on the cabin is green and the roof on that is green. So it doesn't matter if this outhouse has multicolored roof. Man, this garden though, I'm so happy that the gardening was successful this year. I was worried I was gonna start doing this garden on YouTube here and it was gonna come out like crap because I didn't have the resources here to get it going right. But really all this needed was grass and wood chips. I mean, it didn't really need much more. It is yellowing a little bit, but it's 40 degrees. It's like 45 degrees at night right now, and it's Labor Day weekend right now. Look at that pumpkin. Look at how big that thing is. Freaking huge. That's the biggest pumpkin I've ever grown. Thing is giant. But I'm pretty happy with how this summer has gone so far. We only got a couple of weeks left until we're in the fall season, and season 2 of the 100-acre plantation will be over. But I got everything done. Well, almost everything. We got the 2 outhouses built. We have the cabin here. The cabin is finished on the inside. We have all the stuff to put the stove in, and we have a stove, but I still got to do that this week. I got to build a hearth, a temporary hearth, and cut the hole and put the stovepipe through the roof, which is nerve-wracking. Cutting that hole in the roof is, I'm not looking forward to it. And then we have the shed. We just had everything delivered yesterday to build the shed. So I'm gonna start that in the next couple days. This will be the first building that I've built by myself, and it's an 8x10 building, so it's kind of big to build by myself without any help. But like I said before, if I really need help, I'll go up the road and ask one of the neighbors to give me a hand if I need help putting the trusses up or something. But once that's done, once the stove is done and the shed is done, everything will be done that I set out to do on this property this year, and I did it within the budget that I was trying to do it in. I mean, I went a little bit over the budget, but I'm not completely dirt broke, and I did it, you know. I didn't run out of money before I got everything done. So we got the road, the cabin, the shed, and the 2 outhouses and a wood stove. So that's what we had to do. Oh, plus the platform for that beautiful little tent over there. But I'm gonna just water the gardens really quick. Not water this one, but I still have some stuff I'm taking care of in the greenhouse. So I gotta put like 10 gallons of water on that a day. It isn't bad at all. I just do that every morning with my morning chores. I'm running a little late because I went to town. And then I'm gonna put the roof on these 2 outhouses and get that completely finished. And then when I go to do the shed tomorrow, we're gonna start doing the base of the shed. We're gonna level the area, and we're gonna do the base of the platform of the shed so we can build the walls and the trusses on that platform. So I'll bring you guys back once we get to working on that. I'll probably bring you guys back once I'm done with the outhouses and show you the finished product on those, and then we're gonna start building this shed. So wish me luck on the shed. All right, there we are. Foundation, building, roofing material, ridge cap, metal roofing. There should be some tongue and groove pine board here, but I made a mistake when I ordered from the mill, so he took that back yesterday, and as I get this built up, hopefully he'll have another order coming out this way. If not, I'm gonna have to make 3 or 4 trips with the car, so I can fit about 100 board feet on my car of tongue and groove, and I need 400 feet for this project. So if I have to go and do that, I have to do that. But hopefully he'll have a truck going past me sometime in the next week and he'll just drop it off. There it is. I'm gonna cut the pieces for the outhouses right now and put the roofs on the outhouses and get that situated. And then I have 2 big, the 6x6 posts but they've been cut down to 5.5 by 5.5. They're like finished post. And I'm gonna make a hole, fill it with cement, and put those posts in. And I have some sweet metal gate for the end of the driveway, so we're gonna install that gate today. Look at this beautiful cabin. Love it. Alright, down at the end of the driveway, this is this big ass post. It's probably a little bigger than I needed, actually. And it smells like it's birch, but it probably should have been treated too, but they didn't have any treated in the size I wanted right now, and that's what this is made for, so hopefully it lasts. I don't know, but it smells like birch. I'm pretty sure it's birch. It smells like yellow birch too, or white birch. White birch, that's what it smells like. Anyways, I got this hole. It's 8 inches wide. It's probably not wide enough either, but that just goes down like, I don't know, 2.5, 3 feet. And then there's a circle, and then the square. The square will be above the ground level. And hopefully this works. So I put some cement in there. Hopefully not too much. But I put some cement in the bottom of the hole, dry cement, and then we're gonna put the pole, the piece of wood. We're gonna put it in there, and the post. We're gonna put the post in there, and then we're gonna frame it out to something. You know, maybe one of these trees. But we're gonna try to get it so it's really level, and then we're gonna connect it to something with that so it stays level as we fill this. And then we're gonna put wet cement in it up to the top, let it settle, and we'll smooth it out where it runs off on one side. So that's the plan. Hopefully it works. I'll bring you guys back hopefully when it's finished. Well, got the outhouses all finished today. That's all done. And this one pole, I decided to add a frame to it because I didn't think the hole I had dug was really going to be sufficient for what we have here. It's such a thick, big pole or post. So I framed it up a little bit higher and made a square footing at the base of it. And now I think that's definitely going to be sturdy. That should definitely hold the gate we have. And it should look pretty cool and pretty good. And this is it's a pretty big step for me. I'm pretty glad to have it done. When I was younger and I was thinking about buying property, I always wanted a ranch. And one of the reasons why I wanted a ranch is because it just has so much acreage, but also because you had this nice gated front entrance, you know, with fences and everything. So when I was younger, I always thought that I was going to buy a ranch, and I tried looking for ranches at one point, but the only place I could afford them was in Nevada, and I didn't really want to move to Nevada. So I don't know, putting this gate up is gonna really feel like this place is like my ranch, you know, Uncle Dave's little wilderness playland here. Pretty psyched. Gonna let that settle a little bit more, and I still gotta temp it off a little bit and flatten it out, make sure it's running the right way, and skim off a little bit of extra that's bleeding over there, because if that dries like that, it's going to be hard getting those boards off, and there'll be a weird lip. So let that settle for a couple more minutes, and then go over it with a board and just flatten it out and take off all that excess and get that all situated. But yeah, that's a pretty big post. Be the entrance to the cabin. Pretty psyched. Although I wish I moved it. I wish it was a little bit further back. I probably should have put it another like 6 inches back. But I still have plenty of room. I need my opening to be at least 14, 15 feet, probably 15 feet, just in case we get a 14-foot building delivered at any point. I want to be able to get it past here without having to take these posts down, obviously. Well, Labor Day weekend. The next town over, the closest gas station to me over in Springfield, they're having their fair this week, but it's so little people live out here right now that they're only having it for one day. It usually goes the whole weekend, but they're just having it today. They're doing the tractor pulls and the big Clydesdale horses and all that stuff, and they do like a harvest contest and stuff for all the growing that went out here. But most people just grow potatoes out here, so I'm not sure how you have a contest for that. But I skipped it this year. I have too much work to do over here at the homestead. Pretty nice day. Clouds are coming in. I'm gonna put some plastic over all that construction wood that we got for the shed. Keep that covered, and then tomorrow we're gonna try to get those big cement blocks all leveled out and ready to start building this shed. And tomorrow that'll be hard and dry, and we'll put the first gate up, or at least put the hinges up, and then put the gate on it and see how it hangs. And maybe we'll leave it on there, maybe we won't, I don't know. I still have to run to town because I ended up using 4 bags of cement in there, and I only got 3 bags for each hole, so I have to go to town again and get 2 more bags of cement. And I don't even think anything's open tomorrow because it's Sunday, so I probably won't be going tomorrow. Probably wait until Monday or Tuesday. I'm gonna be out of food and need to go get groceries, so probably go then. I'm pretty psyched. That post is in the ground. Well, Sunday night, day before Memorial Day, and that one's all in. Got my initials and the date in it, and that's the gate that goes on it. But I'm waiting for the second half to show up. When I first ordered that, they only had 1 available and I needed 2. But the second one is been shipped and it will be here in 2 days. And we're gonna connect those in the middle here to this one. So these are all done, just gotta let this dry, and we'll let that kind of temp out for, I don't know, an hour or so, and then we'll come down here and carve 100-acre plantation in that. And then the gate will pretty much be done. On Wednesday, when the rest of that stuff comes, we'll set it up and put a lock on it, and we'll have a real gate. It's like, it's not really a big deal, but to me it's a big deal, because getting the gate in is kind of like finally having your own little entrance to your own little area, you know? I don't know, that might sound stupid, but that's the way I feel about it. You know, when people come in, they come to this gate and they have to open it and everything, and then they know they're there, they're at your place. So I'm pretty pumped. But Sunday, Memorial Day weekend, I've been working all day. I'm gonna go and have a drink. So happy Labor Day, everybody. I said Memorial Day. Labor Day. It's Labor Day weekend, not Memorial Day weekend. We were out here for Memorial Day weekend, and we're still out here Labor Day weekend. So it's like been 128 days or something like that. Yeah, anyways, I need a drink.